Good evening, lovely ladies of Phoenix Rising Women's Group. Welcome to Empowerment with me, Elysia.
Big introduction.
Oh my goodness gracious, what's happening?
I was turning you down.
She was turning me down. I got all confused for a second. So again, this is Empowerment with Elysia and my dear friend Jackie Cote, and she is coming to us from somewhere on the West Coast. We were just about to get to that, but Jackie is a powerhouse of a woman. She is a Jersey girl at heart, and she is a freedom mentor, a speaker, an RV adventurist. She has 30 years of leadership management in the restaurant industry and has helped to level up over 300 people in their careers and their life, and she helps hyper-driven people to be able to become even more successful than they are. They're successful, they have money, they have success, but they're just not that in love with their life, but they should be. And she's the one to talk to help you awaken, become empowered, and get to live a life that makes you happy. And there's so much more, but we're going to get to it. So Jackie, welcome to the show.
It's so good to be here. I love, first of all, I thank you because I love your energy and we've always enjoyed our time together. And I love that anybody who gets a chance, like in your community, to have our energies together. But we appreciate you listening wherever, whether it's replay, on live, whatever. So
for sure, absolutely. And ladies, do feel free to pop in the chat if you have any questions for Jackie anywhere along the line. So Jackie, where to even start? So in the beginning, you worked in the restaurant industry. You worked crazy amounts of hours. What brought you to want to do virtual coaching?
So it's interesting. When I started coaching, I used to say like, I'm new at this. And my one friend like whipped her head around, who's known me since I was young. And she's like, bullshit. Like, she's like, you've been doing this your entire life. And she was right. When I look back, it's ever since I was 14, I was handed the keys to run restaurants and I ran 15 years old. I ran the bakery at the little Italian bakery in Jersey. And they were like, here you go. And I'm like, that's so illegal today. Got paid under the table cash. I won't name the bakery, but still, that was a long time ago. And every job since then was like some kind of like coaching, mentoring, leadership, trainer, all that stuff. But I went to college for a degree in teaching and I did that for a year and I was like, oh no, I can't do this. And I like knew
I feel you on that one. Say.
And I listened. Thank God I listened. Like, I wasn't very great at listening to my intuition, but that time I listened. And then it just led me throughout 30 years in that. But the last 2 years I took a change from like, I worked for companies like Starbucks, Potbelly, Outback, larger corporations, all of them in like general manager, district manager kind of roles. And the last one I was like, I'm going to do something different and challenge myself. And I went into the corporate office, and that's like putting an animal in a cage. Like you just know, because my love was the mentorship of people. And I promoted 300 plus people in that career and moved them to higher levels in their positions, in money, in family, created more freedom for them in whatever they were doing. And then some of them, I helped them move out of the restaurant business into different careers. And so that was my love. But when I came into a corporate office position, I was doing new restaurant openings and creating training materials and behind a desk. And oh my gosh, like it was like putting like what do they say, like a circle into a square, you know, like trying to fit the peg into and that was me. Now, I'm someone who's loyal and I'm gonna make it work, right? And push and shove. And then one day I got fired. And thank God, like I say like this, and not to be like, cheeky, but like it was the best day of my life, and it really was. And even in the moment, like I was upset and they were escorting me out like a criminal because I wasn't meeting expectations, but they needed to escort me out anyway. I'm like, I'm not some psycho person, but anyway. And but the drive home, I gotta tell you, Elysia, my shoulders got soft and they were always like tight for the 2 years. My the tears like quickly went away, and I thought, wow, like I'm free. And I had just met my coaching company that I worked with to get my certifications for life coaching and health coaching. I met that 2 months previous. So I had this vision of like what's possible. So I saw like other coaches doing this thing, and I was in my training, but I didn't expect to jump right into it and lose my high income to figure it out. But it was really the only way I would have. Like I wouldn't have left the industry, because you know how we're addicted to the known and the safe. And that's where I would have been if they didn't like do that for me. So getting let go, best day of my life.
Yeah, I resonate deeply with that. You know, I've been doing a medical massage for 20 years, professionally and otherwise since I was 5. It's just the thing that I've always been amazing at. And so it's been an easy fallback for me. But when I first went into massage, I was actually getting my teaching degrees. And I was like, oh, you know, I'm just going to do this for like a couple of years while I figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And then it was just too easy, right? It was just easy money. And I stayed in it, even though it was never actually my passion, even though I was really good at it, which I think is probably true for a lot of people. Like we get good at our careers, it's easy, we get complacent, and then we just feel like, oh yeah, no, I'll do this thing a little bit farther and a little bit farther. And the next thing you know, like a ton of time has passed. Like I'm 42 years old, right? And just now going on my journey of being an empowerment coach, and how scary that is to also go into a field that's so new, so different with marketing, when like you're a master at one thing and totally new at another. It's such an interesting thing to like deal with inside of yourself, and so much of like ego you have to let go of. And yeah, it's a fascinating sort of process, which is
congratulations
oh,
for deciding to go into it.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. And I tried teaching, and like, which I feel like blends really great into coaching because it's just different framing for that, and went to college for a long time for that. But I was like, I don't fit in like standard boxes, which is why I just don't, which is why you and I like each other so much, because you're like living my dream, because I'm just like, I want to be an RV adventurist. So I want to run around, and you know, this interview is just as much for me as the rest of my audience.
It's so happening for you. The day you told me that, I'm like, oh, it's so happening. You're so meant for that. And there's so many places you can go that have horses near it too. Like, because I know horses is a passion of yours with it too. So.
Yes, for the empowerment coaching with and without horses. And living a nomadic life, I just love that it's become more normalized in the last couple of years since the pandemic happened, because when we were young, that was still like your hippie crazy people that lived in the van.
It's like what failed, like how broke are you? Like you don't have any money, that's
like,
why you're in
totally
this.
Like ruined your life, and now you're living in a van by the river. And now everybody's like, go build out a van. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, exactly. Buses are being converted.
It's gonna be amazing.
such a different world. Because I gotta tell you, this was never like, this RV thing was never on my and let me know if the trucks are too loud. I am.
No, you're fine.
Road. This was never like on my like vision board to live in an RV. It was never like, and this is a good point to make, to like to remind myself and the audience that like it never looks like the way we expect it to look. Like we think that we need to know the how and exactly what it's going to look like and all that stuff, and that only like shuts down the universe to be able to give us what's really meant for us. So when we really box in like okay, exactly how it's going to happen, what it's going to look like, then we don't extend the context large enough for the universe to fit in what's meant to happen. And so my vision board had travel on it, but it was like international travel. Then COVID hit, and I was like, what is this going to look like now? I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
I was going to try to do one trip a year, and it was on my vision board on the wall. And I was like, all I know is I want to experience more of the world, you know, whether it's the United States or the world. That was my bigger context. And then boom, somehow we watched RV America. We watched episode after episode. Don't watch that if you don't want to do this, because you're going to do it. And that like convinced us like, ooh, we could do that. And then and then we went to an RV show once they opened up some of the stuff through COVID, and then we bought an RV. So
and it's a massive RV. I would just wonder how you get it in any places that's not like I-5 or like a large highway.
He drives it. I don't drive this thing. I drive the car separately. That's because that's his income. The car is his income.
Tell people how long your RV is.
The RV is 44 feet long. And so if anybody wants to talk about RV living after the call, because we could probably go the whole call and give you tips and tricks about RV living. That's a whole nother thing. We'll do that another time. And who knows, I might create a business out of that. But seriously, it's like, it's not the easiest to go big or go home, that kind of thing. And not all the parks have spots for you, and the national parks you really can't get into, a lot of them, very few spots. It's just not convenient to bring like a 44-foot RV. Now, do I love it? Like I'm sitting on a porch on the side of the unit, and this is why we bought this one, because it's a toy hauler. And this is my office every day.
That's
And I
so
get to look at
awesome.
mountains. So I've looked at the mountains of Wyoming, the mountains of Colorado, the mountains of Montana, while I work behind my computer or behind me. 99% of the time, I had a lake I was looking at one time. I had horses in a lake. Like, so I get to put myself into the visions that I desire while working, so it doesn't ever feel like work. Like, this isn't work to me, even though this is part of my business, hanging out with you. How cool
I
is
know.
that?
Isn't it
How
so
cool is
amazing?
that?
You're like, yeah, just chat with my friend and like cool people that want to ask questions. Yeah, no, that's amazing. And then one of the things I think it would be interesting that you might run across is finding Wi-Fi at all the places to make sure, because that can be a little bit spotty when you're trying to do virtual coaching, because like your whole business is virtual coaching, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so that's a whole nother girl.
I
That's a whole
know.
nother
We could
video,
just do
girl.
like a segment, like
Internet.
a 6-segment like issues. Be like, we're talking to Jackie Cote today, and today's we're going to go through wireless, and tomorrow we're going to be like, and where do you dump everything? And it's fashion. It's
That's a whole other story too. We've
I,
just been experiencing because we don't have the sewer on this site. Anyway, so Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi was funny was that I feel like everything prepares us for what we're going into. Like, something happens in our life and it's part of the preparation for what we're stepping into. And so when we lived in Lake Anna, Virginia area, there was very little Wi-Fi. And like, you had a local owner at Wi-Fi and it worked. It was hit or miss. And so a lot of times I had to leave my house to go find Wi-Fi. And one of the places I'd leave is I'd go down to the lake and I'd sit at a picnic table. And I pretended it was my lake. I pretended it was my lake house with the mountain view, because there was a little mountain on the other side of the lake. And it was mine. And I'd soak in the smells and the atmosphere. And this was my porch, my deck, my everything. And that's one of my goals. Like, one of my dreams is to have my own lake house within my own property. It's on the vision. So that's where I learned how to manage Wi-Fi issues. And then when I got into the camper, we have like Verizon, AT&T, 2 hotspots on each one. We've got a router through Verizon, and we have the campground Wi-Fi's that are sometimes good. And I know that Panera, McDonald's, and Chick-fil-A have the best Wi-Fi. If you need backup Wi-Fi, coffee shops, Panera, those kind of things. So if you need to know Wi-Fi, and I haven't gotten Starlink yet, for those of you who might be asking, I haven't gotten Starlink yet, but that's next on the agenda.
what's Starlink?
Starlink is the satellite that Elon Musk, whatever his name is.
I see. I
Yeah.
heard great things about satellite Wi-Fi, so I was like,
Yeah, it's a way like whenever, because we're remote a lot of times. So when you're remote, how you always get Wi-Fi is through the satellite. But then you got to worry about trees and things in the way of the satellite. So
it's
fun.
All sorts of things. You can always.
So there's a lot of trust.
There's a way.
There's a lot of trust that goes on with. It's taught me trust. It's taught me surrender. It's taught me all those lessons that we need to learn.
I feel like what you're saying is that this journey has really allowed you to steep in your feminine energy.
Very much so. Very much so. Coming from a family of 5 brothers, father, mom passed away when I was younger. Stepmom didn't come into my life until I was about sophomore year. A 30-year industry, working in the industry, of male-dominated industry. I did not have a feminine energy bone in my body when I started this journey. So that's been a journey in itself over the last 3 years of like letting myself, like everything from feel to flow to understanding how the two work together, understanding what it even is. And so, this journey has just been even more, a more defined way of learning how to like just trust in the flow and the energy of what's meant to happen. And sometimes calls don't go through and I'm like, well, I just wasn't meant to do that call, and it wasn't best for me and the client, and that's okay.
That's really beautiful. I appreciate that a lot. I resonate with that, because when I moved to Virginia a year and a half ago, I'd spent a lifetime really heavily in my masculine energy, and having been a business owner for 20 years and just doing everything on my own. And then I came here and I decided, I was just like, you know what? I came to Virginia with literally nothing. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a place to live. And I was like, I'm going to succeed in my feminine energy. I'm going to prove it to myself and all the other women out there that we can be just as good and just as successful and still be in our feminine and flow and surrender and like relaxation and faith and be wildly successful. And I did that. And it was just so, it was like healing in a way to be like, yep, I can decide I'm not going to work till 10 o'clock in the morning and get up and take a bath and write in my journal for my gratitudes and everything else. And I was here for like 5 months and went from 0 to like 7 grand. And that's that, like that 5th month, and like out of just flow, not masculine hustle. I'm like, ladies, we can do it. It's possible.
Yes.
We can do
Yes,
it.
yes. If that's the only thing you take from this call, guys, ladies, like take that, because there's the struggle used to be a big story of mine that I had. Like, it had to be a struggle. It had to be uphill both ways. It had to be push. I had to earn my right at the table and all that other stuff. Struggle's not real. Struggle's not real, and it gets to be done with ease and grace. Doesn't mean that we're not going to like do stuff and like show up. And but what I learned early on was the be, do, have mentality. So you've got the do, have, right? I know we're going to relate so much on this one. We're trained in the do, have. We show up, we make a paycheck. We show up, we make a paycheck. We do the work, and that's how we earn the money or the thing or the whatever. And I had no idea what being was. And when someone's like, but you got to be it. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? And it was like, and they were like, that means like going for walks, taking baths. And I'm like, what? So like 3 years ago, I would have laughed at you if you told you that I was going to be tapping and meditating and stuff like that. I mean, and believing in the woo, as the people call it, but it's just, that's the magic sauce.
Yeah.
Like that's when you really start to experience freedom, because I'm being a freedom mentor. I talk about like stepping in. I know I'm carrying a unicorn around, by the way. I just thought you would like that.
I do. I love that.
It's a unicorn.
Both because it's a rubber ducky and also because it's a unicorn.
Right. I figured this was, I always have like we all have our things, right? Like whether it's like crystals or stones or whatever. And I 3 years ago didn't have a single thing. And this is the one I grabbed for your call. Out of all the things, this is the one I grabbed for your call.
You have a unicorn and I have a dragon.
I love it. I love it. So when it comes to true freedom, like true freedom is like knowing it's, see, I squirreled out because my unicorn and your dragon.
We were at the be, do, have.
Be, do, have, yes. And I didn't get that, like, well, first of all, I didn't want to be alone with myself. That's one thing that was like a big one for me. That can be hard for a lot of
people, yeah.
I avoided myself through staying busy and having people around me all the time. And I'm not sure if you know my story, but I went through 30 years of using bulimia to manage feelings of loneliness and feelings of expressing anger and all that. Like that wasn't, I was a latchkey kid since I was like 7 years old. And so,
hold on just a second. Sorry, just a second. You used a word that some people might not be familiar with. The latchkey kid. What is that?
That's right. Total different generations. The parents weren't home. Like you pretty much took care of yourself. Like you got yourself to school, you got home, you're on your own. You took care of dinner, those kind of things. Cause dad worked a lot. Dad has his own construction company and he worked like 80, 90 hours a week. Definitely where I got my struggle story from. I definitely learned a lot of my like struggle and the reason why I waited for so long to go for myself, because his business was like up, down, like super successful and then bankruptcy and like up and down. So that's what's my version, one of my stories of how entrepreneurship is. And even though I desired to do it my whole life, I'm like the exact version of my father. Physically, even like you can walk into a room and be like, that's her dad. And then you go, that's his daughter. Totally. But when it comes to being, getting back to that topic, like when it comes to being, I didn't want to just be like, I didn't know how to, but I was scared to. Let me put it that way. I was scared to. And when I learned that it's safe to love myself, I'm safe with myself, I belong with myself just by being me and with my higher power, God, universe, whatever you believe in, that was the most powerful shift in my life and my business that I've ever experienced.
Beautiful. Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that with all of us.
Yeah. any questions that someone has, if you hear, I know I said something triggering. I know like eating disorders and sometimes can be triggering, but for me, it was a safety mechanism that kept me safe for so many years. And I look at it as it was something that I created for myself to manage the anxiety, manage and stay happy, Jackie. Yeah. Then I figured out it doesn't have to be this way. I get to choose other ways of thinking and being and feel and not be afraid to feel and have it all. The anger, the anxiety, like the all the things, and it's okay and it's safe. Yeah. So anybody who wants to talk about that, please feel free to reach out.
Excellent. Thank you so much for all of that. And we'll definitely make sure to put all your contact information in so people can reach out to you later if they want to do so and aren't comfortable in the public forum. Yeah, the struggle, so many struggles. Being human can be rather messy, as I tell people often.
Yeah. And so much fun at the same time.
And so much fun. Some of the messiness is the fun.
Right? Don't you learn the most from the messiness?
When willing to take an honest look at it, yeah.
That's a good point.
Very important disclaimer.
That's a good point. You got to be willing to look at it, live it, like process it, and not stuff it away and be like, ugh, bad, and then learn from it and take what you like and leave the rest.
It's true. Like when you get really honest with yourself and what you're feeling, allowing the feelings to move through you and honoring that they don't need to stay stuck inside of you. Mm-hmm. Because so oftentimes we have our emotions stuck in our body and then somatic responses occur and pain and disease and yeah, just so much more. And then the mental aspect that comes in from us having to deal with physiological stuff and round and round it goes. Which brings us, I feel like, to how you do your freedom vision. I know that's something that we said we were going to talk about today, and I'm very excited. Like you are living your freedom vision while also still striving to the next level of what your freedom vision looks like. So where would the ladies start in their own process of defining and activating that?
Excellent question, because I had no idea how important vision was until I understood a little mix of like how the brain works with how energy, like the energy part of this whole thing. Two things that like I didn't even think about 3 years ago. So for me, visioning became the thing, like the vision of possibilities, like what's possible. So I started to surround myself with people who were doing the thing that I wanted to do, and successful or not, like just people, other like-minded women, like this group, right? And surrounding yourself with wonderful people like you. And so the possibility of like, I'm seeing this person's got a business, this person's got a business. Okay, if they can do it, I can do it. I mean, who's to say like we're all equal in this life. Yeah, it doesn't matter how much money or this and that and what someone's making or how much success, we're all equal. And so then I started to be able to vision, because when you first started this, I was like, vision, it would be like, I vision like, I don't know, not going back to a job. That was one thing, but I didn't have a big context for my vision. How did I expand that? Was I learned about intentionally visualizing. And what I mean by that is like, we set goals. It didn't sound like you were very much in corporate America, but do you remember the SMART goal thing? Like specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time sensitive. Yeah. It's a very masculine version of setting goals. And it works in corporate America for this and that. But the thing that was missing, and I always fought it, no wonder I'm a business owner and I'm a freedom person, because I always fought it in the industry I was in. And I'm like, but the goal's great, but like, don't we want to have fun along the way? And so visioning for me is intentionally visioning the journey along the way to the external goal, because SMART goals is setting it towards an external goal that we want to hit in a certain time period. One, we can't control the time period. We can influence, inspire, great, but we don't have control of the future. FYI. And so along the journey, what do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? What do you want to see? What do you want to like for me, it's like clients. Like if I want like 5 clients, or I want $10,000 or whatever the external goal is, I only really put in, like, I only process the things that are like, what's the journey? Like, what do I want to experience along the way to the goal? Because the external goal, whether it's weight loss, money, whatever it is, we think that's going to fulfill the internal need, and it never does. But what fulfills the internal need is all the intentions behind the visioning. All the, like, if you want to experience, I have puppies. If you want to experience like the joy of receiving 5 new clients, how can you experience joy today?
Yeah.
What are you going to do today in this moment? And the key and the bigger part of visioning that, let's be another dog somewhere. The important part of visioning is that your brain likes to go to the past, which you cannot change, right? The past is done. We can't change it. It also likes to go to the future that you cannot control. I'm about to put her inside. I apologize.
Okay.
And so the future that you cannot control, we talked about the future, you can't control it. And our brain likes to go to the past and it likes to go to the future worries. But the third place is the vision of all your desires and what you want. And it's so much more fun to live there. And so when I learned that, oh, my brain knows this and it knows this, and that's why it wants to function on these 2 areas of the past and the future worries. So if it can function on the unknown of the future worries, well, then it can also function and help me create the future desires. That's the brain. Once you make it real in your brain that this is happening, this is true, freedom life is what I'm creating, and then I watch it create and unfold the way it's meant to unfold. The brain's like, let me find every way to find the freedom life for Jackie. Or I can go worry, am I gonna have enough money at the end of the month to take care of the freedom life and worry about all the logistics and the how. The brain's like, let me find every way how this isn't gonna work out for Jackie. You know what I mean? Like, so the brain like goes to whatever it is that you focus on, which is what my bracelet says. What you focus on grows. So let's focus on the vision of the future.
Yeah.
And that intentional journey along the way to the vision that you desire, and stop trying to like figure out exactly how it's going to happen. Like, let's just trust a little bit. Marry the front process, divorce the results, have some fun along the way.
That is fantastic. It also, it reminds me of, I tell people all the time, we need to let go of ego and expectation, which I feel like in part is exactly what you're saying. Because it allows us to be fully present and we're not distracted by the past or the future.
Yep.
And the different expectations that we put on ourselves, that we feel like society puts on us, our partners, kids, colleagues, whatever it is. Having this conversation with business women recently, because I feel like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we have those different goals, and a lot of them are parents and wives and partners. But beyond like health, safety, and making your bills, the rest of it is just gravy. Like any goals beyond that is just what you're putting on yourself. And I think it's really important for us to remember that, to be able to have grace and like take a deep breath and settle into where we are and being like, how much stress is this creating for me? What's it really worth? Like, does it really need to be done this week? Or is this a goal and a target that I can meet 3 weeks from now and have more time for myself and or my family and or my dogs? You know, and it's just, I just think it's important, because like ego tells us like, oh, you're going to fail. You're going to be wrong. People are going to look at you funny. But if we just let go of that ego and we'll be like, I'm enough. I am worthy. I am smart. I am capable, and I can get this shit done at whatever rate I feel like.
So funny you said that. Like in my mind, I'm like, if you think about all the possible shit we've done in our life to get to us where we are today, whether it's someone gave birth to a child, like, sorry, that's kind of like impossibly cool. Like, and
I think so. I'm not a mom, so like
I'm not either.
Yeah,
but I'm just
like,
so much.
Wow, babe, you gave birth to a baby? You made
I don't care how you did it.
Like,
you raised a child, even if it was adoption, whatever it is. Like I'm just amazed. If you think about the impossible stuff that we've done, even as like a child, like how I made it through the survival parts of raising myself from 7 to about 15, and I just and then we start to doubt that we can do things. I'm like, oh, girlfriend, let's talk about the stuff that you've done so far, and you're the queen. Like, you can do anything. Like, so I just like to remind people of like, you have infinite value from the day you were born, and you've done some impossible shit, and you can do some more because you have infinite potentiality.
Absolutely. Here, sister.
Preach. Both of us were preaching. Something I'm curious for you, like, and you, because you've done chiropractic for so long, and I mean not chiropractic, massage for so long, you probably have experienced so much of the person's pain through their body, and like what they hold in, and like I can imagine that being right. It's like freaking Dorothy sometimes when the wind blows. I'm like, everything starts blowing open. Has that really inspired you as well to like transition into more of the empowerment coaching side of it? Like, has that impacted you at all? Because I can imagine how much you've helped people physically heal, not only because you have more talents than just massage.
It's true. So I've helped tens of thousands of people over the course of my lifetime when it comes to body work. And when I was 5 years old, I had this belief that I was a strong enough spirit that I could hold the whole world's pain so that no one else would ever have to hurt. And I've carried that with me as a person. And I had lots of somatic stuff because when I was young and didn't understand grounding, I took on a lot of people's energy and the pain, and no one could figure out what was wrong with me. But then as I got older and I learned to ground, and I learned that it's each individual's responsibility to handle their own life experience. And to take away a person's pain while seemingly kind in the moment actually takes away some of their autonomy. And that as a massage therapist, there's only so much that I could do, which is a lot. But as a coach, turning into that space where you're helping facilitate people's growth and being able to have that personal accountability and empower them to be able to be their authentic self and go deeper in their evolution was something that was both more healing, both for myself and the people that I got to connect with. I don't have to hold the world's pain anymore, but I can still help facilitate them through it so that they don't have to hurt anymore.
So good that I think the wind kicked up right when you started talking about the 5-year-old self and all of that, all that whole part that you mentioned. The wind just went, and then it calmed down when you got to get to heal themselves. Oh, that was so cool. I believe in that stuff. That was so cool.
I've always had a deep connection with the wind too, which is funny. There was an old captain that had a sailboat, and he would always say that I could come sail with them anytime because the wind always came when I did.
I love it. I'm telling you, because it's been calm all day. And then I get on with you. The wind loves you, girl. Love it.
The winds of change.
Yes.
But thank you for asking me that question. It's something that I think I don't talk about quite as often in all the podcasts that I do, but perhaps I should.
Because I feel like everything that we've done has people say it's created who we are and everything like that. We get to take what we love from the past and package it up and bring it with us in a little suitcase in the future, and we get to leave all the other stuff. And but that journey, like some of the stories from that journey of how powerfully you can serve people in this new next journey of your life, of where you're going in empowerment coaching and doing that. And I mean, you've already been doing it, but as you're going to be huge, you're going to grow, and it's going to be massive, and it's going to be all over the country and the world. Those are the kind of things that make you different and unique in what you do.
No, I appreciate that. And I just had this, I might have thought of this before, but just the realization that, saying that like when I was 5, I wanted to hold the whole world's pain, right? So they didn't have to hurt. And then 2 years ago when the pandemic started, wanting to help empower at least 1 billion people before I die. So at 42 or 40 at that time, so 35 years later, it's still the world. It's still like 1 billion, it's 1/7 of the world that I'm like wanting, and then the generational change that will hopefully like trickle through that. I was just like, yeah, just all comes full circle of the giant impact that you want to make from the time you're small.
Our 5-year-old self, man, it was, you think about the things we created, the beliefs that we've created to create love, safety, and belonging, because that's what it all comes back to.
Sure.
Because my 5-year-old self had a mom pass away at that point, and very much learned the story, like I was the baby of 6. And so there was a lot going on and there really wasn't a lot of time. And so I was like, okay, how can I feel loved? How can I feel safe? How can I belong? Like and again, 5, you're like, how did I create that story at 5? It's the brain, the gosh, the brain and the spirits are magical. It's crazy. I go on and on about it, but good.
It's very true. I want to say something as well for the audience, because I think it's something we don't talk about often as adults, is that it is possible to both be in a loving environment and feel alone, and to be surrounded by good people who are well intended, and also to feel like you're not heard or seen. And the conflict that can arise in oneself out of that discord can be deeply impactful and hurtful. And I mean, I know I definitely went through that when I was younger, and it makes it hard to talk to people about it when you are a strong personality and you are surrounded by good people, because you're just like, they just don't get it because I'm different.
Mhm. Mhm.
And how do you navigate that to be empowered and to have a voice and find the people that can listen to you and create that safe space without invalidating the good people who are doing their best to surround you?
Mhm. Yeah, that's deep, girl. It's a whole nother call. We're like, cut this one. We'll do this one.
I
We'll do this
said
one.
it 6 parts in.
We're gonna have a whole series.
Exactly. Do you have a few like keywords, wisdoms, or thoughts on that for people out there?
So I just want to say that I relate to I was loved dearly by my siblings, by my dad and everything like that, and still felt very alone. There's a lot of people around and still felt very alone. And I what I've discovered in this journey was because I created a story that I couldn't bother people because there was so much going on that like I created the story. I'm like, okay, I need to take care of it. I got it. I became the ultimate I got it girl. And anyone on like watching this, anyone on the call like that can relate to the like, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. I can take care of it. I can do it. I can do like even like carrying a suitcase up when someone else offers to carry it for you. You're like, no, I got it. I'm good. And that independence made me feel like, strength in one place, but then really alone in another because I wouldn't let anybody in. Even took me like my 4th year into my relationship to really willing to receive like the love that was being willing to be given. And it was both of us actually, because he had a very interesting, childhood. It's a whole other story. And like it was crazy. We were together and we loved each other, but yet we still were alone as we were together. We still weren't fully letting ourselves receive the love and the joy that is like right in front of our faces. Because if I received it, I could become dependent on that person, and I'm independent and I don't want to be ever dependent on anybody. I got this. I don't need any help. And then I realized one day in this coaching journey and my relationship that like, first of all, I've never been alone. I've had a higher power by my side the entire time, whatever that belief is for you. And second, like the only reason I felt loneliness is because I didn't really love myself. Like I wasn't here.
Right.
And so when I worked on that and learned how to fully like internally fill my cup, yes, we get to fill our cup first. I know we've heard that before in this group. With a leader like Elysia, you've definitely heard like you've got to take care of yourself and do you first. That taught me that, wow, I get to be filled, and then everybody gets the best version of me around. And then all of a sudden, because at the 3-year mark with my relationship, we were pretty much breaking up, living in separate rooms and about to separate. And then coaching was teaching me these things. And I said, listen, I got to do me, you do you. And if we're still standing in the end, great. And it was like, not like it wasn't like that. There was more niceness in there too, but it was kind of like the point of like, I got to heal me. And like, and if we're still meant to be together, we'll be together. And magically, I didn't have to change a thing in the man. Like he started changing on his own. He started doing his own, like figuring out his own stuff. And then we got back, like we stayed together 7 years. We're 7 years in now. So 4 years still together from that. But I say that's because I had to fulfill my holes in me for love, for safety, for belonging my own way through my own journey and heal that. And don't, there's still pieces that come up, obviously, like here and there. But now I own me so fully. So now everybody who meets me or is in my life or in my world or who I get to serve gets to experience the best version of me so that I can serve in the best capacity that I've ever meant to serve. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Whatever is meant to be. That's what I love to bring forward in these conversations. It's just like what resonated with you is what came forth. What the group is supposed to hear is what comes forth. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love to just have it be a meandering conversation. Like we have our key points that we try to come into. And other than that, I'm just like, it's a beautiful thing. I feel honored for the time I get to share with incredible people like yourself. And which brings us, you're welcome. And so we have our other thing that I just do want to touch on a little bit more is how do you help guide people to become awakened and empowered and on that whole journey?
So
find their true self, since we're talking about self-care and filling our cups.
A lot, it's funny, and this is a reflection on how I started in this journey. I had a coach to help me with my business, right? Business coaches sell, like, and people are like, why don't you just call your business coach because you'll get a lot more people. That wouldn't be authentic to me. But I went to her for business, and the first 9 months, there was some business stuff in there, but it was cracking me open like a walnut and doing all sorts of healing, all sorts of crying. And I was like, girl, this is not what I signed to pay you for. I cry every day. But it was exactly like what I needed. So I can definitely help people in the journey of like building their business and this and that. I probably saved more marriages and relationships, or helped people free themselves from relationships. And I don't consider myself a relationship coach. I don't consider myself a business coach. I don't consider myself a particular version of that, because what happens when it comes in, it's whatever's meant to happen for your journey. Because I'm really adamant about, there's a lot of noise out there right now in this industry, right? There's like 50 million ways, tons of strategy. And it's like a blessing and a curse at the same time. And I'm so grateful for it. And so what I really encourage people along the journey working with me or anyone you choose to work with is to always come back to you. Always, always. So you're going to learn stuff and you're going to try it. You're going to do it and then make it yours. You're going to hear stuff. And I've even 2 years in, like I had a coach tell me, you can't sell freedom. And I listened. So I created something totally different. And I was like miserable doing it. And I ended up like going rogue and like canceling all my coaching. And from November of last year till January, February of this year, I was like, I don't need anything because I couldn't hear myself.
Yeah.
And so what I really help people too is get back. First of all, like when I say awaken, it's like, you got to awaken what's like been dormant. It's all in you. Everything you need is in you already. Like I'm not giving you anything new, like maybe a few new tools here and there, but you have everything you need inside to become whoever it is, like whatever version of you want to become, because we're always becoming who we're meant to be. And then once we awaken all of that, create the vision and go through all that, it's like, how do you empower that? Like set your boundaries, respect yourself, love yourself, and empower everything that comes up. But then the key for me was like owning it. So when I talk about all this like noise out there, it's take what you like and leave the rest, and trust you're getting, like you said, trust the conversation's going exactly where it needs to go for whoever's going to hear this, and for each other, because I'm learning from you and you're learning from me, and we just got to trust that. That was actually the biggest turning point in my business and my life, was when I learned the concept of trusting and surrendering. And that, like, I went from making like minimal money to like the money actually going up every month and like making good money. And because I was trying to control it, hold on to it, all that stuff. So I would love to sit there and say, like, here's exactly what I do, and this is how everybody changes through this process, because every person's so different. And I will not make somebody a cookie cutter. I will not tell people what to do. I help you think differently so you can decide differently, so you can experience life differently, exactly the way you want to experience it. And then I get the question, do I have to live in an RV to have a freedom life? I'm like, that's only one version of a freedom life. You don't have to go and live in a box. but if you want to, I can help you with it. But what is your vision of freedom? And for me, the foundation to all this, like time freedom, money freedom, location freedom that I talk about, the foundational freedom was my self-love freedom, like love freedom and body freedom. And with that, self-actualization and self-love and self-care, like that's what created all of the other stuff. The other stuff comes easy once you get there.
Yeah.
But that's really end up when I talk about being a freedom mentor, it's like I want you to be so free to easily make decisions and trust yourself and love yourself through the process and give yourself grace and own the crap out of the powerful goddess you are inside.
Boom.
Boom.
Mic drop.
Unicorn drop.
That's right. I love it. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Jackie, we always have one more question left. Do you have anything else that you would like to share? We have a couple people watching. If you'd like to ask any questions here towards the end, pop them in the chat.
My biggest thing is there's a lot of I've been talking since 8 o'clock in the morning, so I apologize. My voice is starting to crack. There's a lot of like waiting to go for what it is that we truly desire because of whatever stories or whatever, like, okay, I need to take care of like the kids, the shoulds, the this, the that. And I'm here to tell you, like, don't wait, like, stop waiting to really, really love, like, create the freedom life you truly desire, and everybody else benefits. Like, there's no, like, especially with a group of women, sometimes we feel selfish, and that it's selfless to take care of yourself because everyone else, and to go for your dreams and let your kids see what it is to like go for it. And so and if you need help in the visioning side, excuse me, sorry, hold on. Like, let us know, like, let us help you, like, dig out that vision that maybe has been dormant for so long. Because once you dig it out, once you see something, you can't unsee it. You know, once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. Like, it's one of those things like, oh, that's possible. I'm in a group of women that, for my coaching program, that massive wealth in women's hands is normalized. It's so normal, like 6-figure months across the board, $1 million months, 50 grand, like all sorts of combinations of wealth. And it's so celebrated and normalized. And I've never experienced that. Like, I knew women were powerful. I knew we could create a lot, but I was like, oh, everybody gets to experience this. And that's what I want to help people, especially women. I do work with some men, but it's mainly women, experience. And freedom doesn't have to mean a lot of money, but it gets to mean a lot of money. What would you want to do with, what do you want to do with it? Like, and people like to justify, and I say me, justify, well, okay, if I make a lot of money, I promise to do this, I'm going to do this with it, I'm going to do this with it. Like, no, what if you just want a lot of money? That's okay. I'm here to tell you that's okay.
I want a lot of money.
Exponential wealth is your birthright.
I'm here for it. I'm totally down to make $1 million a month. I'm okay with that.
Let's go get wealthy.
Let's go get wealthy. Let's do it. So if anybody's out there and you want to get wealthy, or maybe you just want to get to live a life of freedom and authenticity, just kicking ass and being happy, or just like being peaceful and happy. Jackie, where can they find you?
So this is so funny. Now the rain's kicking in. You're bringing all sorts of like refreshing things. Cool weather, rain, wind. Nice. It was hot earlier. So I always like to say, like, let's be friends on Facebook. It's Jackie Cote. Find me. My personal Facebook page is you probably hear a lot of noise now. My personal Facebook page is a digital diary of who I am, what I'm about. What you see is what you get. Nothing like, and everyone says that when they meet me in person. They're like, oh my gosh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's first step. If you want to just casually get to know me and my energy and that, let's be friends on Facebook. You can message me and say, I met you on Elysia's thing. Can we be friends? Friend me and I'll probably recognize because she'll be your mutual friend, But the second thing is I have my website. It's Jackie Cote, my name, coaching.com.
It's a great website, by the way. Super clean,
awesome.
Crisp, clear. I love it and totally want to copy it.
Yay! It's funny because I originally created it and then I had somebody transfer it because like GoDaddy you don't own, but then you own it on like this other, like, so you want to own I'm learning that you want to own your digital property as much as you can. And so she moved it over and she did a couple little like additions to it to give it some like animations. And I was like, she's like, but overall you made a good website. I'm like, that's right. I never want to do it again, but that's right. It's not my gift. And don't ever want it to be my gift, to be honest. So, but thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So that's the website. And yeah, those are the main places to find me. Reach me at any time. I have a 30-minute connect call that if people want to like find out more information on going deeper on anything we talked about today, that 30-minute call, I can pop the link in if I think I might have given it to you. So that's me. I'm on Instagram and I'm on LinkedIn, but my main jam is Facebook.
That's always good to know which one's easiest to find.
Yeah.
So Jackie, our final question always in the interviews is, who inspires you in the world today?
It's so funny you ask it that way. Most people ask it like, who inspired you from the past? And I love to talk about my dad on that one. But who inspires me now? My gosh, I don't know if I could put my finger on one thing.
It can be multiple people.
Okay. It's like, it's the community. It's the community that I have attracted into my world that surrounds me every day. Like people ask, like, how do you like Facebook? Like, meaning like, how can you like it? It's just so my Facebook is a joy. Why it's a joy? Because that's what I attracted.
Yeah.
My Facebook is like, I can go to sleep and look at Facebook before bed because I'm like, ooh, happy birthday, congratulations. Like, oh, you're like, I'm so proud of you. Like, and I get to like, look at all the positive things people are doing. And I get to like send love out to the world because that's the only thing that hits my Facebook wall. Because that's who I am and that's what I attract. So, my inspiration truly comes from like the world that's been created around me that I've chosen to receive because I wasn't always willing to receive it, to receive into my world. So I've got some amazing coaches that have really inspired me, but I get so much from my clients, from people that are just, I don't know how to explain it. Like the people that come into my world just inspire me all the time.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I'd love to give you like this one nugget of like this one person, but truly it's a culmination of everything.
There's no wrong answer
I
to
know,
this
yeah.
question. And it is beautiful that you have been attracting such an amazing group of women and just your community in general that inspires you on such a level, and that you can share that with the world so that they too can aspire to find a group that they can regularly be.
Yes. And girl, that is important. That's another note to leave on, say, is like having a community like this and actually tapping into it and knowing that like you don't have to be perfect to be part of it, that like we like you like imperfectly perfect. Like that's actually like more fun in this world. And I am famous for like sitting back in a community and not using it, like not letting myself use the support that I have.
Yeah.
I've done that in paid programs and all sorts of stuff. And now I'm like, no. Like you reach out, like use your community, like, you know, talk to Elysia, like use the other women, like connect guys and create a community that you feel safe in. And I know you've created a community that you feel safe in, and be part of that.
Yeah.
And really like let that, like soak that, receive that. Receive that.
Yes. Allow yourself to be held.
Yes. Thank you. It's a wonderful way of my long-winded explanation and very short and easy way of saying it.
Well, thank you so much, Jackie, for showing up today on the call and just sharing your time and your energy and your wisdom and your sweetness and candor. I really appreciate you.
It's my honor to be here with you, girl.
Thank you.
And let me know once you get on the road, because we're going to meet up in places. And
you know it.
And real quick, for those of you who want to be RV, there's an RV entrepreneurial retreat I just went to last week, where it's all full-time RVers, full-time entrepreneurs and RVs traveling.
Amazing. Please put the link in the group so
next year you're coming with us.
I'll be there. I'll be there next year. It'll be great. So everybody out there, thank you so much for watching this show. I really appreciate all of you as well who have stuck with us for the full hour listening and hopefully getting great little nuggets. And if anybody wants to be on the show or knows somebody else amazing who would be great on the show, please do shoot me a DM on Facebook or go to www.globalequineaffiliates.com. So until next time, ladies, we'll see y'all later. Bye. Ah.